Hello. Welcome to Fairfield Missionary Baptist Church with our pastor, Pastor Howard E. Jones. And our podcast is the Group Chat Kingdom Edition, and we're talking about boundaries, baby. And I am your youth moderator, Ariana Stewart, and I have to my right
Dominique Knight, LMSW, LSSW, licensed school social worker and licensed master social worker.
and to my left.
I am Ashley Cathy, MA Masters in Counseling.
And I have some questions. So I will ask Ms. Dominique first. How can young girls build a healthy relationship with their bodies in a world full of social media pressure?
So social media is very prominent among youth, especially teen girls. It's just important to remember that everyone is different, everyone is unique in their own special way. It's important to kind of build your self-esteem through personal affirmation. So those are things that you can look and say to yourself. So those are things like, I love my body, I love who I am, I'm great, I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm bold. And just saying those things and actually believing them can help build self-esteem.
Do you have anything you want to add onto that?
I would add being mindful of who you surround yourself with. Community is important, but it has to be the right and healthy community, and that includes your friends. And sometimes that discernment doesn't come quickly. It usually comes with experience, but I do say that I think young girls know enough to know when someone's not making them feel good, maybe that's not someone that should be in your community.
On top of that, I will ask you, Miss Ashley, what are some early warning signs of emotional or physical abuse in teen relationships?
I'll start with physical. So physical can start small. It can be a push here, a shove there, maybe grabbing your wrist when you're trying to walk away. It usually starts small and then it builds over time. So even just a little bit of like, he just pushed me against the wall, take that seriously because it usually compounds from there. Emotional, calling you out of your name, making you feel like you're crazy. Something happens, you said it happened, and they say it didn't happen. A lot of people call that gaslighting. They get gaslighting wrong, but that's gaslighting. What other things? Isolating you. Just making you feel bad in general, and those things can grow over time as well to be more severe as time goes on.
Do you have anything you want to add?
Yes, I would also say that I want to point out that domestic violence doesn't only happen with girls. And so it's important to understand that domestic violence does not have a gender. It can be physical, emotional, as well as verbal. And so one thing that I will piggyback off what Ashley said, and it does start small, they'll say, I'm just playing, I was just kidding, you took it too serious. They were just as serious as when it happened. And so being able to notice and realize that if I'm telling you to stop, it means stop. Your words are powerful. And to the point that someone is ignoring what you're saying, it's abuse. Domestic violence is all about control. So at any point that someone is trying to control you, you are in an abusive relationship.
Okay, this next question is to either one of you. It says, what does a healthy romantic relationship look like for a teenager, and what are some red flags to watch out for?
It starts with respect. It starts with equality. And what that means is that both of you make decisions in the relationship. It's not one way or the other. Communication, healthy communication. Even with the way you argue, I always tell people arguments are healthy. That's normal. What you need to look for is the way that you're arguing. Again, that goes back to name calling, shoving, pushing, just getting overly aggressive or even rage. That's not a healthy argument. So even looking at things like that. Also, I would say these terms that people use now all over reality TV, I almost hate to use them anymore, but love bombing. When someone's doing too much too soon too quickly. Like they're in love with you within 24 hours. I know that sounds good, especially when you're young. The world seems like a Disney movie. I have to tell people the world is not a Disney movie. That is not normal.
And I'll just add with the red flags, like I said, going back to control. So if they're trying to control who your friends are, who you talk to, where you go, having your location, all of those are sensitive control. Yes, you can share your location to be safe, but it's another thing when you're checking it out all 5 minutes saying, why you going over here? What you doing over here? I thought you said you were going here. So those are ways to keep tabs on someone versus making them feel like you're trying to be safe. As far as healthy things that show up in relationship is knowing that you have your personal values still matter, knowing that you can still be an individual. It's okay to be in a relationship. It's okay to have relationships, but you're still a person and you still have your own views and guidelines. So as long as you're not stripped away of that individuality, then it can be healthy.
So my next question says, what are some practical ways teens can manage stress from school, friendships, and family life?
I'm a big believer in, with all the crisis work I've done in my career, I'm a big believer in your health and moving your body. Our body holds a lot of stress. Our body holds a lot of anxiety. I always feel it here. And movement is one of the best things you can do for your body and for your mental health. It doesn't mean you have to be super fit. It just means moving, stretching, walking, whatever. Also, making sure that you are not doing things that drain your energy. Doom scrolling, the type of people you're around, just being aware of those things that take energy from you instead of giving you positive energy.
One thing I would say, obviously, is therapy and counseling. A lot of teens specifically hold in a lot. They feel like they can't talk to their parents. They feel like their parents don't understand them. They feel like their peers they can talk to, but maybe they don't trust because they will tell their business to other peers. And so they just carry that with them. Being able to have a safe space where you can truly be yourself. I feel like as people, old or young, we show up ourselves in different populations. So at school, you have to be the perfect student. At home, you have to be the perfect daughter or son. At work, you have to be the perfect employee. But in therapy, you can just be you. And so you can take that mask off and be your true and genuine self. And so that's why I think therapy is important, because you're getting advice from someone that is unbiased. With your parents, they want you to do what's best. So a lot of parents say, I want my kids to go to college. In therapy, if you tell your therapist, I don't want to go to college, your therapist isn't going to look at you in a negative or positive light. They're going to help you explore what other options you have. So I would definitely say therapy and any other healthy coping skills, listening to music, going for a walk, taking a nap, going to vet, dancing, writing in your journal, all coping skills that are positive and just help you get that energy out.
Okay, so my next question is on relationships and boundaries. It says, what advice would you give to a teen who feels pressured to stay in a relationship that doesn't feel right?
I would say they need to find a trusted individual. Those cycles are really difficult, and sometimes it's hard to know if what you're feeling is real or not real. Am I overreacting? Am I not? I think having a trusted individual that you can confide in, and maybe that is the therapist or the school counselor, someone that you can just confide in that you feel is a safe space to maybe ask these questions, such and such happened. Am I overreacting, or how do I feel? Or what do you think about this? And then maybe seeking out resources that can kind of give you a better idea of healthy relationships. There's a few for young adults too. Loveisrespect.org is a great one. So reading up on that, and now with social media and the internet, there's a lot of resources to even just Google and look up. But my first thought is always having like a safe, trusted person if you can find that.
I think you could think about and talk through with the therapist or counselor what in the relationship you're holding on to. So you may feel connected because this is the only person that you can tell everything to. You may feel connected to this person because you feel like they are the only person that loves you. Or you may feel connected to this person because they give you everything you want. So my question would be, what are you holding on to? And then from there, looking at how can I get this in a healthy way. So if they buy me things I want, let me go find a job so I can buy it myself. Really getting down to the why of the relationship.
Those are some really good answers. My next question says, what role can schools and communities play in preventing domestic violence and supporting survivors?
I think that a lot of times when people are in domestic violence relationships, they don't even realize it. They are so blinded by the things, the good that is going on. So I think education is number one. Informing people what a domestic violence relationship looks like, how it feels, what things show up, what are the signs that you are in a domestic violence relationship. I feel like if people know that those things, the education behind it, they would choose differently.
I would agree. Educating yourself, and something that I'm really big on. I do agree domestic violence can affect anyone at any time. Statistically, however, women are victims. Young girls are victims, and even more so statistically, black girls are victims to both domestic violence, physical, sexual, interpersonal violence in general. I say that because I am a very big advocate on men needing to have a voice in this work. I've been doing this work for a very long time. The majority of people I work with are women, but this is not a women's issue. This is an everyone issue. And until we have more men that are educating themselves, and young boys as well, and then speaking up and holding their own accountable as well. And not just men. Women need to we all need to hold each other accountable, but especially in our community, until this stops being viewed as a woman's issue and men get more involved and educate themselves and educate young boys and get the young boys involved, we're going to keep going where we're at.
Okay, so my last question on relationships and boundaries says, how can teens set boundaries in friendships and dating without feeling guilty or losing people they care about?
My answer may be a little raw, but that's just who I am. I am huge on boundaries, and the one thing that I have learned and accepted and I'm okay with is that when I set boundaries and someone doesn't like it, maybe that means you're not supposed to be my friend. And that's really hard to understand when you're young. Again, that may go back to therapy, counseling, talking to a trusted person, looking at resources online. But boundaries are important, and if someone does not agree with your boundaries, that is not someone that should be in your community.
And I'll just add to that, Ashley, I agree with you. So, like, you can control what you can control, right? And the only person that you can control is yourself. And so you can't control how other people view your boundaries or how they feel about them or how they respond. The only thing that you can control is your boundaries. And I feel like you have to know yourself to know what your boundaries are. You have to know how the things that you don't like make you feel. And you have to be okay with losing people. Like, you can love them from a distance. It's people that I love and I care about, and I want to bring them along this journey with me, but because I have boundaries, they can't come. Mm-hmm. And I'm okay with that. When it's their birthday, I'm going to still tell them happy birthday. I love you. I hope you have a great day. That doesn't mean that I don't love and care about them. I just have to do that from a distance.
So my next one says, how can teens safely support a friend who might be experiencing domestic violence at home or in a relationship?
This is probably going to be an unpopular answer, but I'm saying this because of the work I've done and known and seen. If you know it's happening, you have to let somebody know. And I say that, well, some of y'all are probably too young. There's this old movie on Lifetime in the 90s called No One Would Tell. It was about a girl in high school whose boyfriend was abusing her. They didn't know what to do. It wasn't their fault. They're friends, but everybody knew about all the friends. Everyone knew about it. They didn't tell anybody. He ended up murdering her. And that's not to say to put that pressure on yourself that if I don't say something, something bad could happen. But when it comes to abuse, it's better to say something than say nothing at all. With the caveat, I will say this, from a safety standpoint, saying something knowing that you will be safe, because when that person, whoever that is the abuser, if you feel like you aren't safe, it's important that you think about that and check and prioritize your own safety as well. But outside of that, I am a big component of, I don't care, you don't have to call the police, you don't have to do none of that, but somebody needs to know what's happening.
And I'll just add, you can support your friend through it, saying, hey, girl, I know this is hard, but I'll go with you to tell someone. I think that you should talk to this person about it. I definitely think saying something is like you support it. You supporting them getting help. When you don't say anything, it's like you're supporting the abuser. We're just going to keep this quiet. We're not going to say anything. Or if you don't even feel comfortable, if it is a therapist or a social worker, counselor, you can say, hey, we have to keep things confidential anyway. I want you to know that whoever is going through some domestic violence abuse, I think that it's really important that you talk to them. And that social worker and that counselor, we're skilled. We know how to talk to someone without revealing who told us what. And so we can say, hey, I noticed that you've been a little off lately. Is everything fine? Is everything okay? What things are going on? And 9 times out of 10, that person is tired of holding their secret. They're tired of bottling up. Their emotions are high, and they want to say it. They just haven't had the opportunity to or the courage to. So you being that friend can kind of open up the door for them to escape the situation that they're in.
Can I add one more thing off of that? With that, you also have to know, and it's okay, but you have to know that when someone is in that cycle and they aren't ready, they may look at you as the enemy because you're saying something. I am the believer, I would rather say something and try to keep you safe. If that means we're not friends anymore, then that's what that means. It's hard, but I would rather do that than to not say something and then it gets worse. But just know when you do that, if you approach that with the best intentions, that person may not be in a space to accept it or hear it, and they may take that out on you.
And I just add, they'll circle back around. They will realize that, oh, they were just looking out for me. Oh, they were caring for me. When you're in their cycle, you're blinded. You don't realize until you step out. And so when they come to their senses, they'll come to you and say, I'm so sorry I did that. I responded wrong. I know you're my friend and you were just looking out for me. And maybe their relationship will be repaired and maybe not. But they will come back and acknowledge that they're wrong.
Okay, so now I will open it up to the audience. Does the audience have any questions for Miss Ashley or Miss Dominique?
So, Miss Ashley, how can youth openly talk to parents as we have questions even if we're not engaging in the activities?
What kind of activities?
Like the domestic violence and like physical abuse and the mental abuse.
Okay, so let me start by saying sometimes it is hard to engage people who don't have a true understanding of what domestic violence is. And I say that because you should always, I hope that you feel safe to approach your parents to have those conversations. I'm trying to figure out my words here, but in my experience, sometimes even parents, they're still human, and they may not understand completely. So it's still good to go to resources that are actually professional and educated on domestic violence. But as far as going to your parents, if you feel safe to do that, maybe you can just start small. You don't have to give the whole story, but maybe just a little bit here, like, or a scenario. Have you ever known somebody that XYZ, what was that like? What did you do? Or, you know, I watched this TV show and XYZ happened. It wasn't a TV show, but if you just need to give a scenario, just to approach it, just to see how they respond first, and then gauge from there and see how you feel about continuing having those conversations with your parents or whoever it may be.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Dominique, when we communicate with authority figures, how do we save our reputation?
That's a perfect question for me because I work at an alternative school. Honestly, I feel like it's hard when you have a reputation, right? It's hard to maintain a reputation or change a reputation when you have a reputation. So I feel like showing up and acknowledging the reputation that you have. So it's just like, hey, I know I may look like a bad kid, but this is going on. Or, hey, I know that it may seem like this, however, this is what it really is. So basically giving that disclaimer up front. And so it channels in our mind like, oh, they already know that I feel like this, or they already know I think they look at me like this. And it gives the authority figure the opportunity to say, oh, no, that's not what I think, or oh, no, I understand. So I feel like that's the first thing, just acknowledging what they're thinking and or feeling, and then going from there.
Thank you.
Miss Ashley, how do we as Christian girls stay cool and set healthy boundaries without friends?
Say the last part again. I'm sorry, hon.
You want me to say the whole thing or
Just the whole thing. Just say the whole thing.
How do we as Christian girls stay cool and set healthy boundaries without friends?
Without friends? When you say stay cool, I guess for me, my definition, I would ask, what is your definition of cool?
Like,
cool can be anything you want it to be. Are you saying stay cool like your version, or stay cool like what you think other people will like about you?
like your version.
What do you like to do? What's your hobbies?
Like I do cheer and track and some other things.
Okay, you're cool. I think cool is what you make it. Nobody needs to define that for you. You define it for yourself.
Ms. Dominique, what is the safest way to tell your parents when you feel abused, whether it's at school or at home?
Are you asking to tell them at school or at home? Or are you saying whether abuse is happening at school or at home?
Whether their abuse is happening at school.
I feel like you know your parents, so you have to come from a place where you know how they're gonna react, or you know what they're gonna say, and kind of again prepping them like, Mom, I gotta tell you something, but don't spaz, and say you can kind of go from there. Mom, this is happening, this is going on, and also let them know what you need. Sometimes as parents, I'm not a parent, but I know my mom, even at 30, she thinks she can protect me from everything and everybody. And so being able to say, I want to handle it this way. I understand that you're my parent. I understand that this is what you want to do, but let's collaborate together because this is my situation. I am old enough to have a voice, and this is how I want to handle this. And so that can that reminds them that, I always go back to this. You raised me. You have instilled values in me, and I still hold true to those values. So trust me enough to make my own decisions and how I want to navigate this. And when they hear that, they're like, okay, yeah, she is, growing up. And so they're able to, you can collaborate and go from there, whether this we going to go to the school or we going to go to this person's parent or we going to the police. Then you can explore the options together.
Thank you.
So as a parent, how do we address our children with the sexual activities that's going on in the school systems? And when I say sexual activities, I mean they're asking questions. They come home and they ask questions about whether it's physical, oral, and all these things that's going on. I'm just going to be real. Yeah. And so one of the things that I have been known for is to be kind of raunchy in my conversations with my kids because I don't have good filters because I didn't grow up with a good filter. So I'm kind of raw and uncut with my kids, but sometimes I feel like it's too aggressive. Mm-hmm. So how do I make sure I get that boundary set in a good way, whether they're Ari's age or whether they're going from middle school to high school, because that's my kids, they're on their way into high school. So, but I'm hearing the activities, I'm seeing the things on social media. How do I make sure I don't overstep and be too aggressive with my children?
I think if you don't teach them, somebody's going to teach them. So I feel like it may be aggressive, it may be raw and uncut, but they can't say you didn't tell them. And I say that because when you have a child teaching a child and the child don't know nothing, then you're headed towards destruction. I feel like that it's important to have those conversations. It's important to be raw, real, and uncut because you can never say, I didn't know. My mama was raw, real, uncut. It was what it was. And because of her, I feel like I didn't make the mistakes that other children made, and I appreciate her for that. I appreciate her for telling me the things that she told me, and that was that. I mean, at the point that I was sexually active, Mom said, we about to have this talk right now. We talking about condoms and birth controls. They go together, they twins. You can't have one without having the other because birth control is not as effective, as people make it seem. Like, people still get pregnant off birth control. And so I feel like, they may not appreciate you now, but they will appreciate you in the future. And they go through high school, they're going to see girls pregnant. They're going to have friends that talk about what it's like being a mother. They're going to get that secondhand exposure and be like, dang, I'm glad my mama told me.
I would agree with that. And I would also say, I don't know if there's a such thing as being too honest. They need to understand what the words mean, what they are, where they are, how they work, all the things. Even toddlers, they teach them, you don't say cookie or what you say the actual body part. You know what I mean? And educating yourself. And then the other thing I would say is teaching your children what consent actually means on both sides. There's a video, I can send it to Adrienne if she wants to share it, but it's a really good video that really breaks down what consent actually means, and it's super easy to understand. It has to do with drinking tea. It sounds silly, but it is a great video. So teaching them consent and also educating them. I passed the generation of, like, I know it's all about everything's on the internet now, TikTok, whatever else. Teaching them that what they put on the internet lasts forever. And I know it's like the thing to share your whole life now, but helping them understand what is appropriate. I don't even want to say appropriate, but like what you're putting, boundaries for the internet. Your everything, all your intimate details does not need to be online. And if somebody's telling you otherwise, that's a problem. Also, as the parent, making sure that your child understands that you are a safe space to come to. I don't care. My mom used to tell me, I don't care what you did. You can still come to me and talk to me about it. I would rather be there to help you and support you than for you to not say nothing and keep it inside.
And I just add to that, as a parent too, you have to think about how you come off. So sometimes it's like, your child knew better. They didn't have no business doing whatever that they were doing. But at the end of the day, they told you. And so don't be quick to respond in an aggressive manner. Like, take your breath, take your break. I know you just told me this. I need a little second to process. Let me come back to you. Because sometimes when you respond, well, why you didn't tell me? Why did I? It's like, I'm never going to tell you nothing ever again. And so being able to just step away and then come back and have that conversation and remembering that they are still children. Like, we've all been there. We have all done things that we had absolutely no business doing. And so just remembering that you were their age at some point in time and you made your mama feel like they making you feel. And so just being able to say, like, we ain't going to talk about this right now. We're going to take a break and we're going to come back and have this conversation.
That leads me to another question. So I have been accused, I can say, of not caring enough. But I hear the questions and I can understand what's being asked of me. I give you the answer and then I let it go because, again, I want them to keep coming back and asking me questions. But if I don't give it enough merit, it's that thin line because everybody's different. And so I have been accused of not caring enough.
I feel like it's kind of like love languages. Like, you say you love me, but you don't show me you love me, and that looks different from everybody. Mm-hmm. So when it says that you don't care enough, it's what are you looking for? What are they looking for? And that's a conversation you can have with them. Care to me looks like you ask how I'm doing. You check in. You ask me, is there anything that you can do? You stay with me. You come back and ask me a couple days later, hey, I remember us talking about this. How's it going now? That's what care looks like to me. But again, it's different to everybody. So just having that conversation, you say I don't care enough. What does care look like to you? And so that can give you a clear perspective of how you can support your kids and show that you care.
I would agree. And I would say in a lot of aspects of our life, whether you're a parent or you're a leader, director, whatever it is, when you're in charge of someone, you have to tailor your communication to that person. I do that with all the people I supervise. My message is the same and consistent, but the way I deliver it depends on which one I'm talking to. And I have to get to know them and understand what their language, how they like to be communicated with. I will ask people, how do you prefer to be communicated to? And so I tailor it from there. Again, the message is the same. I'm not going to change what I'm telling you, but the way I deliver it depends on which one I'm talking to.
So am I clear? The tools that you just gave me were, this is real. The tools that you just gave me was, one, tailor my communication, but make sure it's the same communication. The other one is when I understand the love language, ask them what it is they're seeking, and then try to help them express what they're seeking so that I'm hitting the mark. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much.
Yes.
I heard her say, oh, Lord.
Oh, no. Basically, what made me think of it, you know, our AI, we have AI that's, and I see on the news all the time that you got kids that are getting caught up in this AI where they'll take their face and put on a body that's not their body. And I want to know, what are your thoughts as to how the kid should address that? Or even so, how should a parent help their child adjust to anything like that if they get caught up in something like that?
I think that's a clear sign of self-esteem and self-confidence challenges. And so in that event, I would ask the child, what do you like about this other body? What are you wanting to have? Like, what does this show that your body does not? And a lot of times it's something that they don't realize they already have. So it can be, oh, she's just pretty, or it's just this. And so I go into, well, tell me about you. What do you like about your face? And so then we build from there, and then it turns out they're like, okay, I am pretty, like what? And so I would start there. And if it's a weight thing, like, well, she's skinny. Okay, well, let's go to the gym. Like, let's eat healthier. Let's get on a meal plan. Like, the things that are changeable, If you want that, let's change it. If there's like, oh, my teeth not straight, okay, let's go to the dentist. Let's see what is. Let's get braces. Let's look at Invisalign. Let's see what we can change. Because everybody needs to feel happy in their own body. Even though you like this body, this is not your body. So let's do what we can with what we have.
I don't think I have much more to add to that. I will say, as a parent or a leader, whatever that may be, give yourself grace, because that whole business of AI and everything is still new. People are still catching up. People are still learning. I see stuff every day with AI, and I'm like, I didn't even know you could do that. Like, so I'm big, again, still on education. I look up stuff all the time. I'm actually starting to research myself about the digital parts of abuse and how people are using AI for abuse. And I think they're calling it, there's a whole new phrase for it now. I'm still learning all of it. It's some kind of digital abuse, but like they're using AI for stuff like that now. So I'm still learning about it. So I just say that, just adding, give yourself grace, because we're all still learning that part of it.
And I guess another part of that is on the negative side of that. I've also heard on the news where your friends will take your face and put it on a body and then try to blackmail you in some ways as well.
Yeah, that's where, well, I'll speak for Davidson County. Our judges and all of that, who I worked with, are still trying to catch up. Our laws are still trying to catch up to that. So what they're calling it, instead of like revenge porn, what it really is like digital abuse, basically, is what they're trying to call it. Or image-based abuse or something like that. They're still working on that. But yeah, and if it's kids involved, one thing that I have had to tell kids in the past that I don't think they realize is if you are doing that with someone who is underage, that is illegal. You can get in a whole lot of trouble for that. So making sure kids understand that. I know sometimes they think it's a joke, but if you get caught, it ain't a joke, it's a felony. So just being mindful of that. But then, yes, that's still something that our laws are having to catch up to. We're having to catch up to. It's moving so fast. We're all trying to educate ourselves on it.
Okay. Thank you, Bo.
I just want to thank Miss Ashley and Miss Dominique for coming, and I want to thank our listeners for listening to the Group Chat Kingdom Edition.
Thank you. Can I plug one more time? loveisrespect.org. That is a great resource for young adults or teenagers when it comes to abuse and learning healthy and unhealthy behaviors. Also here in Nashville, Office of Family Safety, they have free confidential services for anyone experiencing interpersonal violence. That's physical, that's trafficking, that's sexual assault, all the above. So Office of Family Safety here in Nashville, and online, loveisrespect.org.
Any final thoughts?
No, I just say thank you for bringing me out. I have thoroughly enjoyed you all and the questions, and I hope that I gave you something to take with you to help yourself or someone else.
This concludes the podcast, Group Chat Kingdom Edition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we clear? Are we clear?